Deepin Linux, Chinese propaganda, or desktop masterpiece? Is the slickest Linux desktop a brilliant piece of design or a Trojan horse? Today we cut through the hype, the politics, and the code to answer one question. Is Deepin safe to use, and is it worth your desktop? What we'll cover. Quick roadmap. Origin and who makes Deepin. The tech and the delta that make it gorgeous. The privacy and propaganda claims that keep showing up in tech forums. Real security and openness. And finally, a clear, practical verdict you can act on. Origins and who's behind it. Deepin traces back to a Chinese distribution originally called Highweed, evolving into the commercial-backed Deepin Technology Company in 2011. Over the last decade, it's grown beyond a hobby distro into a visible Chinese Linux project with formal community infrastructure and a public presence. That history is important. It explains both Deepin's development resources and why people pay attention to its country of origin. The technology and user experience. Where Deepin shines is UX. The Deepin desktop environment, DDE, is custom-built with a focus on polish. Expect a macOS, Chrome OS-like dock, a single unified control center, crisp animations, and apps that feel cohesive because Deepin develops its own toolkit and integrates many desktop apps into the shell. That focus on design is why reviewers often call Deepin one of the most beautiful desktop Linux distributions. The controversy: spyware, telemetry, and geopolitics. Now the elephant in the room. Yes, Deepin has drawn intense scrutiny because it's a Chinese project. Concerns have ranged from bundled analytics or telemetry to the far stronger claim that it's a deliberate surveillance vector. In practice, the evidence has been mixed. Some third-party observers flagged instances of tracking-like behavior in certain apps and website links, which Deepin responded to with public statements denying that the OS is spyware and clarifying how their services operate. Deepin publishes a privacy policy and has issued official not spyware statements addressing specific claims. Open source and community. It's important to judge Deepin by code and process as much as by provenance. Deepin maintains a significant presence on GitHub and publishes many components openly. The desktop environment, apps, and tooling are available for inspection and contribution. That open source footprint doesn't magically eliminate risk, but it does allow independent audits and community scrutiny, which is the standard Linux way to build trust. Recent packaging and security debates. Beyond the earlier privacy headlines, Deepin has also faced practical packaging and policy friction with some upstream distributions and packaging teams. In one example, maintainers temporarily removed or restricted Deepin packaging over policy security concerns. These are not proof of espionage, but they do show that packaging, review, and distribution processes matter, and that Deepin's code and packaging need routine community vetting like any other large project. Practical risk assessment and who should use Deepin. So how should you think about risk? 3 short rules. For privacy-sensitive users, journalists, activists, corporate laptops, prefer distros with long audit trails and minimal proprietary services, or run Deepin in a VM after auditing network activity. For everyday desktop users who value polish and productivity, Deepin is competing strongly on UX and is a reasonable pick, especially if you follow best practices: disk encryption, minimal extra apps, review network endpoints. For Linux power users, sysadmins, Deepin's codebase is inspectable. If you can audit builds or use community-verified images, that's the safest path. Final verdicts. Balanced verdicts. Deepin is a desktop masterpiece in design and usability. Its DDE is one of the most polished environments in Linux. The geopolitical concerns are understandable, but the available evidence is not proof of state-level spyware. Instead, the right response is inspection, audit, and cautious deployment. In short, Deepin is worth trying for its user experience, but treat it like any other software. Verify the image, check network activity, and consider your threat model before using it on highly sensitive machines. Finally, try it in a VM. Tell us what you find, and if you want, we'll publish a follow-up walkthrough showing how to verify Deepin images and monitor network calls step by step. Hit like, subscribe, and drop your experiences in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in tomorrow's video. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe for daily videos. Bye.